Dr. Wenstrup.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I do want to start and associate myself with the ranking member's concerns and questions concerning Michael Ellis. But from there, the intelligence community's need for diversity of talents and characteristics are very clear. As well, this work requires a common thread of selfless, apolitical, patriotic service with honesty, honor, and integrity, along with a willingness to uphold and defend our Constitution. I think that's pretty clear. But nothing has been as diverse and inclusive as COVID-19, killing and affecting humankind across the globe. Honesty and transparency have been at a minimum for many that should have been able to shed the most insight about COVID-19. Seemingly, the honest, factual, scientific opinions of many experts have been ignored or given way to those that claim there's nothing to see here, move along. Director Haines, I want to thank you in advance for reaching out to schedule a meeting with me on this topic and the relationship between this committee and the intelligence community. I appreciate that. You know, some call gain-of-function experiments the production of a chimera. In this case, that means experimentally combining components from two viruses into one for the sake of making it more infectious to the general public. The terms are interchangeable. Using what I have learned or not learned from the intelligence opportunities I have by the virtue of being on this select committee, as well as what I have learned from my own open source research, I wonder if Vanity Fair or the Intercept's FOIA request involving EcoHealth Alliance, which is led by Peter Daszak, and Drastic, a science data research group, have all done a deeper dive than our own intelligence community. A member of the Drastic team, Giles Demonif, a data scientist from New Zealand, told Vanity Fair, "I can't be sure that COVID-19 originated from a research-related accident or infection from a sampling trip, but I'm 100% sure there was a massive cover-up." You know, in 2012, Dr. Fauci was asked about this type of research, and he said the benefits of such experiments and the resulting knowledge outweigh the risk. 2015, Dr. Ralph Baric and Dr. Shi Zhengli of China, Dr. Ralph Baric of North Carolina, published their work to create a chimera using coronaviruses. Dr. Fauci's emails, January 31st, 2020, virologist Kristen Anderson emails Dr. Fauci suggesting the coronavirus may have been genetically engineered, and the next day, on February 1st, Dr. Fauci emails his deputy with the headline, "Important," and sends the 2015 Dr. Baric, Dr. Shi article about creating a chimera from a coronavirus. April 18th of 2020, Peter Daszak of U.S.-funded EcoHealth Alliance, working with Chinese Dr. Shi Zhengli, emails and thanks Dr. Fauci for publicly saying there's no evidence that this was genetically engineered. He does so without any evidence that it came from any other source. Peter Daszak also got a letter published in the well-known publication The Lancet stating that the COVID virus did not come from the lab, and it's reported that 26 of the 27 that signed the letter had connections to the Wuhan lab, writing this with no evidence that it came from nature. January of 21, Dr. Stephen Quay scientifically concludes that there's a 99.8 probability that COVID came from the lab versus nature. Dr. Ralph Baric in January 21 says it's possible to create this without any evidence that it was altered. We also know these facts. China removed all access to their database containing the genetic sequencing research. China did not report what they knew or when they knew it, including that the virus spreads human to human. China levied sanctions on Australia just for calling for investigations and transparency. We know that no COVID-19 virus has been found in nature, not in wet markets or livestock, as hundreds of animals have been tested, yet except maybe the humanized mice used in research at the Wuhan labs. Peter Daszak was the only American representative on the WHO review team. To me, it's reasonable to conclude that considering this research at the Wuhan lab and his involvement, that his interest in discovery, or lack thereof, may align with China's. There's much unknown, much unrevealed. The question is, who should be the investigators and who should be investigated? As more information emerges, Peter Daszak and the WIV find themselves at the center of this debate. Why was Peter Daszak the only American appointed to this mission? I want to finish with this. As the Washington Post editorial board asks about Peter Daszak, They ask, why did he not disclose his 2018 proposal to DARPA for research on bat coronaviruses with the WIV and others, which called for engineering a modification onto spike proteins of chimeric viruses that would make them infect human cells in the way the pandemic strain did? What does he know about the databases of viruses that the WIV took offline in 2019 and never brought back? Does he know what research the WIV may have done on its own during or after their collaboration? What was being done at WIV in the months before the pandemic? Mr. Daszak must answer these questions before Congress. His grants were federal funds, and it's entirely appropriate for Congress to insist on accountability and transparency. He might help the world understand what really happened in Wuhan. These are good questions and comments from the Washington Post. I suggest that this committee should be investigating and holding hearings on the origins of COVID-19 and any cover-ups, and do so in coordination with our intelligence community. My only question, can I get that commitment from our chairman and from you, Director? Mr. Chairman.
Director, would you care to respond?
Representative, thank you so much. I have great respect, honestly, for both your knowledge on these issues and your passion on the question of trying to get to the origins of COVID. And as you know, we have done a lot of work on this question and have briefed committee members on our analysis. And we're happy to provide additional briefings on that, as the chairman and the committee sees fit.
I do look forward to our conversation that is scheduled. Mr. Chairman.
Me too, sir.
I'm happy to consider your request.
Thank you. I yield back.